What is up, Hardcore Nation? It's Hardcore Christopher here, and just like I said, I have a D&D video. Now, what do I know about D&D? Not a whole lot. But I thought I thought I'd take you guys on an epic adventure with me. So, welcome to an epic adventure. You start off as a wizard in this massive adventure. Instructions: scroll, read, and make choices. That's it. Your progress is automatically bookmarked. If at any time want to try another character and story, use the library button on the top menu. You are a young wizard seeking treasure and glory. You are walking along a path in the forest, one day's journey from Ring City. Your beloved home. Night has just fallen, and you're thinking about how it might be a good idea to find a campsite. After all, you're in goblin territory, and it's dangerous to travel in the dark. Suddenly, you smell something awful. Reynold, are you Reginald, are you responsible for that outrageous smell? You ask the warrior, striding ahead of you. Pray no. I am always downwind from my companions when I squeeze the bellows. Reginald answers. You realize that you have never encountered this stench before, and it is close, and perhaps it's your imagination, but is that muffled breathing you just heard? Let's stop and listen. A clever move. You're a tricky one. No need to panic yet, you think. You grab Reginald by the shoulder and gesture for him to be quiet. The two of you stand motionless for a few long seconds before you hear a low wheezing sort of breathing. Reginald must have heard it too, because he raises his sword defensively. A series of snorts is followed by several goblins with green-tinted skin charging out of hiding toward you with an arcane word and a flourish of one hand. You send a bolt of fire into the leader of the charge, who drops to the ground, thrashing in flames. Reginald hacks down another with his sword. The remaining three run away, whooping and yipping. Soon their cries are joined by others from the dark forest all around you. Many calls from far too many goblins to fight toe to toe. It is a hunting party trekking wild game. I wager human is a delicacy much better than mutton, Reginald says. You regard the two dead goblins on the ground. Dead goblins are worth 10 gold pieces per head in the city. Luckily, you don't need to carry their heads around. The city authorities will accept their left ears. Cut the ears off.
We have the house to ourselves.
Get the ears, you exclaim as you pull out your razor-sharp dagger from your belt. For a second, your sometimes slow-witted warrior sidekick doesn't understand, but as soon as you start sawing away at the first ear, he gets the idea and fishes out his own dagger. Soon, you have a bloody goblin ear stuffed in your pocket, and Reginald has one of his own. Nasty? Very. However, 10 gold pieces are nearly 6 months of wages to a common laborer, so you're willing to take the hit. What now? Reginald asks. Certainly, there are excellent places to hide in the forest if we can just make it until morning. True, the goblins may have dogs, and their own sense of smell is keen, you say.
What? Your chickens have come home to roost.
You might claim a tree then. Claim? Ugh. Okay, let's try that again. We might climb a tree then. That would at least be defensible, Reginald suggests. You wish to be treed like a fox with goblins barking underneath? If you wish a position that is both defensible and allows some freedom of movement, we should hasten to Castle Inverness. It is near, and we could fortify ourselves behind those walls. Reginald says. You frown. It is a fortress, yes, but inhabited by what? Gods know what manner of creatures may have taken up residence in that ruin over the years. Hide in the forest. Garrison in the ruined walls. Climb a large tree. Let's go for the garrison. Let us take refuge behind the stone walls of the cap.
All right. And when you're done in the kitchen, you can scrub the toilets. All right. She spent more time on her knees than on her back, she wouldn't be in this situation. Not necessarily. Should she really be scrubbing toilets in her condition? Hey, when I was pregnant with her, I worked right up until my water broke. And then I used the water to mop the floor. I exaggerate for effect. Wow. Yeah. You think our family's screwed up? No, I meant, wow. Naomi is fucked. What? Come on, just some fried luscious. I just want to caress that taut, voluptuous belly and, you know. Who are you? Come on, you can't tell me you don't appreciate the beauty of a woman in that condition. Okay, look, Frico. I get the aesthetic appeal of a woman with the glow of motherhood, a new life growing inside of her, blah, blah, blah. But long story short, once there's a bun in the oven, I don't feel the need to butter it. Well, then you have missed out on one of the great sexual experiences a man can have. Had to be one. When Judith was pregnant with Jake, I don't know if it was hormones or pheromones, but she just could not get enough of me. And ever since then, every time I see a pregnant woman, I just... Okay, seriously, you gotta stop that. I am telling you, it was 9 months of the hottest sex we've ever had, even with the morning sickness and hemorrhoids. Maybe that explains Jake's grades. Morning sickness and hemorrhoids? No, the repeated blows to his unformed head. You are such an idiot. All the experts agree that sex during pregnancy is not harmful to the baby. Experts schmexperts. Tonight, when you're sleeping, I'm gonna come in and start poking you in the ear with a hot dog. See how you like it. Okay. Clearly we have different opinions. All I know is I find pregnant women very erotic. Oh, hey, buddy. How long have you been standing there?
Long enough to be very confused. Boy, and hot dogs, right? Excuse me?
Oh, it's just a little indigestion. So, she's got you doing a little ironing, huh?
Yeah. Boy, I can't wait to get this day over with and take a nice hot bath.
You know, we happen to have a jacuzzi in town. It has those jets. Okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, fine. You want me to run some water for you?
No, I couldn't. I gotta keep working or my mom will be all over me like hair on soap.
You do paint a picture. But still, you shouldn't be working in your condition. Oh, just sit here. I'll finish it for you.
Really?
Yes, really.
Why, thank you.
You're not doing a very good job, anyway. Ooh. Hot. So, you know what the baby is?
Well, I'm hoping for human.
No, I meant boy or girl.
Oh, it's a girl.
Oh, that's nice. I always wanted a girl. I mean, I love my son, but let's face it, girls are so much smarter and more spiritual than boys.
Plus, we got all the boobies.
All the good ones, anyway.
Of course, right now, mine feel like 2 big bags of wet sand.
Nice.
My back is killing me, my feet are swollen, and I'm passing gas like a NASCAR pit crew.
Well, I think you look beautiful.
Aren't you sweet? Oh, God, it feels like she's playing hacky sack in there. You want to feel?
Yes.
Come on. What's going on here?
I heard the baby was kicking, and Naomi asked me if I wanted to feel the baby kicking, and I said sure, which is when you walked in, and that's pretty much it. Okay. Yes, it is okay. It is okay. Hey, you're having a new granddaughter. What a blessing, huh?
Yeah, sort of takes the sting out of this one being a gullible tramp.
The only thing that gets better because of inflation is small talk. That's the only thing that improves in life. Yeah, because at least now you can talk about something else other than the weather.
Yeah, price of cheese is up again, huh? Man, it's getting crazy. Cheese. Cheese. Stay on Paramount Plus. Springfest is back. And right now, you find everything your lawn and home needs this season. At great prices for the season. Stop by Lowe's now for your happiest spring.
I love the sauce, don't you? So it's not just ranch, it's got a little zing to it. Yeah, like a dilly ranch. Don't dilly-dally with this. Don't dilly-dally, run. Sonic, big dill cheeseburger. This is kind of a big deal. You're a big deal.
Give every morning a fresh start with the Jimmy Dean Delights breakfast. They're chock full of protein and ingredients you want. From wraps to bowls to sandwiches. You'll never have the same old again.
We're delighted and hope you try. Every time you step up to the grill, you gotta deliver.
Sorry about that. I had to do something. So let us take refuge behind the stone walls of Inverness. You say, goblin hunting calls echo. Wait, what? Oh. Didn't realize. Okay. Goblin hunting calls echo from all around in the forest as the two of you dash up the path 100 meters or so, where you find a fork in the road. The path to the right appears to be seldom used since it is nearly overgrown. The path to the left is clear, and you think you see firelight down that way. Could this fire belong to the goblins? Or, if you're lucky, is it the campsite of another friendly adventuring party? What do you do? Let's investigate. Ooh, life increased by 1. So it turns out the fire does belong to goblins. What did you expect? You're in goblin country, after all. You've come up to a clearing with 2 goblins staring hungrily at a rack of mutton sizzling over a fire. Apparently, these guys are more keen on guarding their next meal than joining the rest of the hunting party. Before you can decide whether to turn back or kill them, one of them spots you and screams out. Reginald shoots this one with his bow while the other runs off. What a cowardly lot they are. You run back to the fork in the road and head toward the castle. On the way, you hear a whistle in your ear, then another, and then feel a sting just above your hip. They do have bows. The wound isn't bad. It's a small arrow shot by a weakling. No doubt you pull it out without losing stride. After a minute of stumbling down what is best described as a game trail, you see the shadowy husk of the ruin in the moonlight ahead. Unfortunately, the battle cries of your pursuers are closer than ever, and when you look back over your shoulder, you see glowing eyes.
I had such hopes for her.
The two of you turn on a burst of speed, and soon the outer wall of the castle looms before you. It is about 10 feet high and crumbling. You realize with horror that there are no holes on this side that are large enough to fit through. Meanwhile, Reginald, a faster runner than yourself, has disappeared around the north corner of the wall. A short spear whistles past your head. You look back and see at least 4 of the little beasts.
The sleazeball who pollinated my little flower that disappeared like cupcakes at a fun party.
Let's follow Reginald. You turn north to follow Reginald. You've almost reached the corner when an arrow stabs into your shoulder. When you round the corner, you don't see your friend, but there is a section of partially crumbled wall. What you think? Wait, what? Of partially crumbled wall that you think you can climb swiftly. Another arrow whistles by before you're able to roll over the top of the battlement and onto the rotten wood floorboards on the other side. In a few seconds, there are 4 goblins at the base of the wall, chattering angrily. One of them begins climbing up the rotten rock. You decide this is a good place to take a stand. There is a lot of loose rocks at the top of the wall. You're not particularly strong thanks to your inactive life as a wizard. However, you expect you could push a few large rocks down upon this climber. On the other hand, they are all out in the open, and your combat spells would certainly be effective now.
What's this stuff called again?
Push the rocks. Absolutely. Why waste your magical energy, mana, when instead you can use the time-honored trick of hurling rocks down upon your enemy? Very medieval of you. Sure enough, there are some large loose stones nearby which you push down upon the climbing attacker. The first one misses, but he looks up just in time to get a melon-sized rock right to the face, making a watery crunching sound. He falls back down onto the earth, where he lies motionless. The other 3 look up, scream in rage, and back off. Suddenly you feel the battlement boards below. You shake to the unmistakable rhythm of footfalls. God, they got behind me, you think. Charging along the runway is a shadow of of a tall and lanky man carrying something. A bow? Reginald? You sigh in relief. He must have found another way in. Reginald leans over the wall and seemingly without even aiming lets loose an arrow. One of the little devils below falls to the ground, squirming with an arrow in its chest. The others scatter back toward the forest. With their eyes turned away, they make difficult targets in the scant moonlight. Nevertheless, your friend takes one more down before the rest make the safety of the woods. We have struck terror into that advanced party. But they will call for reinforcements. We have the wall. Can we hold it? Reginald asks. We could go in. You point to the castle. Keep beyond the courtyard. The castle is 3 stories tall, or at least it had been before the top layer partially collapsed. The second story is barely any better. The fortress is as lifeless and still as a painting. Still, you wonder if anyone is looking back at you from the dark windows and arrow slits of the ruin. Prepare a wall defense. Enter the castle now. Let's prepare a wall defense. Gods know what's in that castle. Let us fight only one enemy at a time, you say. Soon the forest around you is dotted with glowing sets of eyes. It is difficult to count them as they appear and disappear behind the trees, but you guess 20 or more. Surely they will attack from all sides at once, says Reginald, and they can see at night like we can in the day. You consider the long, dry grass of the courtyard below. With some lamp oil, you could start a fine brush fire down there. The light of it could perhaps even the odds on these nocturnal creatures. You could even cast a spell upon the fire to create a blinding flash. But you are not sure you want to leave the wall to carry out such an unconventional plan. They may attack while you are away, leaving only Reginald to defend the walls. You wonder how long the goblins will take to muster their forces. Your question is immediately answered as you hear a battle cry, high-pitched, ferocious, and seemingly on the edge of panic. It erupts from
It's a natural bodily function. The baby is pressing down on the intestines. Oh, dear Lord.
It erupts from the forest as a tide of little green evil eyes surge forward. What do you do?
You are so sweet.
Run for the castle.
How come I've never met a man?
2 are not enough to defend all 4 walls. Away to the keep, you shout. You run across the courtyard and open the large wooden double doors which shriek on rusty hinges. Unlocked. This may be a trap, my friend. We best be on our guard, Reginald says. Once inside, Reginald slams and bars the doors. The entrance chamber is large with a high vaulted ceiling. Vaulted ceiling. The stone walls are cracked and flaking. The ground is strewn with loose rubble. The air is stale, aside from the double doors behind. Behind you, there are closed wooden doors on the north, east, and west walls. Near the north door, there is a stairway going up, but it is blocked by rubble. It is not long before the front doors begin to rattle violently. Through a nearby arrow slit, you can see glowing eyes and the glint of axes chopping away at the door. You're not sure how long the barred portal will hold them. Reginald wants to hide deeper in the castle. On the other hand, this place smells of death. It might be prudent to take a few seconds to investigate the room and doors. What do you do? Search. You motion to Reginald to check the east door. You inspect the door and see there has been traffic through here. Some of the tracks on the dusty floor appear to be from human-sized shoes or boots, while others appear to be from bare feet, far too large to be from men. None of the tracks appear to belong to goblins. Listening, you can't hear anything over the goblins thumping and screaming outside. You direct the light of your lantern at the northern door and are about to turn toward the eastern door when something catches your attention. Was that an eye, you wonder? You think you caught a glimpse of a glistening eyeball through a rotting hole in the northern door. Casually, as though just taking another look around, you sweep your lantern light over the door again, pausing for just an instant at that spot. Yes, that was an eye. You're being watched, and although your glimpse of it was fleeting, you could tell the eye did not belong to a human. The white of the orb is pink with blood, while the retina is pitch black and large.
Ronald can't be the daddy.
What?
You would
He was
like...
in a burn unit at the time. He wanted to, but his skin just kept sliding off.
You would like to get better. Oh. You would like to get a better look at the creature. There is a minor spell you normally use to magically open doors from a distance. You find it tedious opening doors yourself, as long as the door is unlocked. You could use this lazy wizard spell to open the eye door without being too close. On the other hand, that may frighten or anger whomever that eye belongs to. Perhaps you should just talk to it. Maybe you can join forces against the goblins. Alternatively, you might be able to hurl a bolt of fire through the eye hole. Not an easy shot, but you have the element of surprise. Finally, there's the running option, a choice that has been keeping wizards alive for thousands of years. Okay, we're not gonna run, but I don't really feel like spending mana. Talk. Just talking can often get you what you want. Language, even a greater invention than fire. You muster your courage, face the door, and raise your voice to be heard over the pounding and shouting of the goblins. We mean you no harm. We wish only to crack. The door explodes open. The light of your lantern streams into the doorway to reveal a huge, muscled monster stooping over. He holds a massive spiked club in one hand and a melon-sized rock in the other. He steps into the room. So a troll. Neville's tongue. It's an ogre. Reginald curses. Greetings, you say, mustering your most cheerful smile. The yonder goblins are disrespecting your property. Let us join forces against them. Just then, the front doors of the castle burst open, like a tidal wave crashing on the beach. A heap of goblins falls into the room, creatures one on top of another. A chorus of glee erupts from their fanged mouths. The ogre hurls his stone straight at you. You duck and hear a squishy thud behind you. Oops. Well, your diplomacy may not have exactly worked, but now there might be an opportunity. Time to let the ogre and goblins become acquainted without you. Reginald and you nearly collide in your haste through the eastern portal. Once through, you slam the door shut up, closed. From the entrance chamber you just left come goblin yips and triumph, which then turn into screams of terror that are immediately drowned out by an earth-shaking snarl. Next is the sharp clapping of flesh against flesh and the wet sound of bodies ripping apart. You run from one room to the next. The ogre is not much of a housekeeper. The castle is full of giant cobwebs and broken furniture. Finally, you enter a larger room, a dining room, as evidenced by a large wooden table and two fireplaces. You motion to Reginald to stop, and you both listen. Faintly, you can hear the far-off sounds of battle from behind you. Can't leave that way, you think. Just then you hear something else. Labored breathing. And is that crying? Investigate the sound. For glory and the loot, you think to yourself as you take the lead. You quickly realize that the sound seems to be coming from this very room. You creep over to the other end of the dining hall and see a young woman sitting on the ground, chained to a fireplace, rocking back and forth and sobbing. Her cries break off, and she looks up at you with an expression of fear that quickly turns to surprise. Who are you? She asks. You tell her your names and that you are here to smite evil while making your fortunes. This brings a smile to her face, a pretty smile, you suspect, although it's hard to tell under all the dirt smudged on her face. She gives her name as Kaiba and says there is a key to her chains on the table. Sure enough, beside cracked and dusty china is a small brass key. As you set about unlocking her, She tells you that she is a merchant's daughter who was traveling with her father's trade caravan when it was attacked by a mighty ogre with a small band of priests of an evil god wearing dark cloaks. Those of her party not killed in the initial attack were taken prisoner and chained up in this room. One by one, they were taken away by the priests, never to return. They took my father, Kaiba sniffs. No doubt he is slain. No doubt he is slain. But I must try to find him. Will you help me? You ask her if she has any idea where her father or the others might be, but she knows little of the rest of the castle. Reginald takes you aside and says, ought we to take her to safety and then look for her father on our own? She will be in danger traveling with us. You agree that having some half-starved, unarmed merchant's daughter tripping along behind you will only get her killed. But where is safety? Last time you checked, the courtyard was crawling with goblins, and according to her, the castle residents are not very good hosts. Escort her out. Kaiba seems like a nice enough young woman, but as a merchant's daughter, she is not a very good addition to the adventuring party. And so you are eager to escort her out of the castle as quickly as possible. Between Reginald's clinking chainmail armor and Kaiba's incessant sniffling and muttering about her father, the three of you are not the stealthy party you wish to be. After some searching, you find a hole in the wall of the castle large enough for a human to fit through. Reginald gives you a boost up to the hole, and you look out. Neville's tongue. You curse in your head. Glowing eyes dot the courtyard outside. You get down and tell the others the bad news. As you're describing what you saw, there's a sudden jolt of numbing cold in your back. You cry out in pain and turn to see a cloaked man, barely visible in the light cast by the shuttered lantern in his hand. He is pointing at you with his other hand. Perhaps this is one of the evil priests Kaiba spoke of. As you slump back against the wall, Kaiba cowers in the corner. Reginald unsheathes his sword and charges. The cloaked man runs. By the time you recover from the pain and stand up. Reginald is walking briskly back into the chamber. That sneaky devil eluded me, he says, and then curses. I would bet my last copper he is off gathering allies to come back for us. We must move on, you say, as you hasten away from that wing of the ruin. The three of you agree Kaiba should hide for now. There are a ton of hiding places in this ruin. You find a nice pile of rubble for her to hide behind several rooms away. Stay still and quiet here. We will return. Well, if we do not return by morning, escape as best you can, you instructor. Clever, Reginald says, as you leave her. If her abductors find her missing, they will not expect her to remain in the castle. With luck, they will leave the castle altogether to search, and we can explore unhindered, you say with a smile. The castle is quiet and dark. You walk into a wide hallway that branches in two directions. One direction is covered in a thick layer of dust, while the other is covered in footprints. You decide that it would be wise to get a lay of the land before looking for any trouble. Despite the faint smell of rotting flesh from the dusty hall, you decide that it would be wise to go this way first. Less monsters, more treasure. Or at least you hope. You have kept your lantern hooded, only allowing slivers of light out. After all, you want to remain stealthy. The way is dim, however, and you find yourself tripping over rubble and the odd piece of furniture. Ahead there is the stench of rot, making you wonder if there might be something terrible hidden in the shadows. Too bad you can't see in the dark like a goblin. Unhood the lantern. Since you appear to be entering a vacant part of the castle, you expect your light will not attract enemy attention, and so you unhood your lantern to see your way clearly. As you move along, the cobwebs thicken and thicken. Spider! Reginald yelps. He points his sword up at the ceiling. There is an enormous hairy spider suspended by a mass of yarn-thick webs. The webs are dotted with small silky cocoons. You suspect might encase rats or other small prey. With trembling fingers, Reginald sheathes his sword and unslings his bow. He takes in a big breath as he fits an arrow, draws back the string, and fires. The spider flails its long legs for a moment and then drops out of the web onto the floor with a thud. The two of you move on, taking extra care to watch the ceiling. Eventually, the two of you make your way to a spiral staircase going up. The upper regions of foul places like this are safer than the lower levels, says Reginald. Why in Neville's tongue would that be, you say? Reginald shrugs. Do not ask me what is in the mind of fiends and evil-hearted beasts. Perhaps they prefer the darkness and stringent and stagnant air below ground. You look up. The stairway and sigh. Well, perhaps we can get a view of the courtyard and the goblins from up there. Reginald leads the way up. The stairs which lead into a small tower. Moonlight filters in through two windows. This room is finely furnished and otherwise much more nicely kept than the rest of the castle you've visited so far. There is a small bed still made on one end, an ornate table, and a bookshelf. On the table is an open fairy tale book and a gold embossed hand mirror. Seeing loot, you forget about the windows and the potential view of the courtyard. You pick up the mirror to inspect it. Strange, says Reginald. There's no dust up here. And do you feel a draft? We are in a ruin, you say. Of course there's a draft. There's a draft. The glass in the windows are still intact, mutters Reginald. Gazing at your reflection in the mirror, you decide you look pretty good, all things considered. You brush cobwebs from your wavy brown hair. You smile. You're happy to see that your teeth are looking particularly good. Of course, you deserve nice teeth. Nice, unlike most people you know who you take care of them. Every morning you wipe your teeth with a cloth dipped into a cleaning solution consisting of vinegar, salt, a little sand, and a small measure of your own urine. Disgusting. You are about to pull yourself away from the mirror and put it in your backpack when you glimpse a translucent skull with thin, wispy hair just behind you. In the reflection, you spin around and see not a skull, but a young girl floating a few feet in the air, her pale face fixed on you. Reginald sees her too, as evidenced by him running down the staircase. How dare you touch How dare you touch what is mine? The ghostly girl shouts. You back up and reflexively put the mirror back on the table. You have heard tales of powerful ghosts that can suck the life right out of you, and wonder if this girl is one of those. Let's just apologize. I apologize, my lady. You say, it is only that this is such a fine mirror, and I wished to admire it. She glares at you for a moment, and then the hard expression on her translucent face softens. I am the Duchess Inverness. My father, the Duke, gave me that as a gift. You have heard stories of Duke Inverness and the mysterious circumstances around the demise of his house. Despite your fear, you feel a pang of sadness for his daughter, who now shimmers before you, trapped in this world. And these books, why, they look like excellent stories in here? You stammer. Read what? Read that one to me, the girl commands. Of course, my lady, you answer. Luckily for you, as a wizard, you know how to read. You pick up the book of fairy tales from the desk and begin on the first page. She stops you and demands that you read her the story about the unicorn. With trembling hands, you page through the book. Eventually, you find this story and begin reading. The ghost floats up behind you as though to peer down at the pictures. You feel a slight chill on your shoulder. Sometime later, you look up from her book and see Reginald peeking around the corner of the stairway at you. You shake your head slightly at him and then return your attention to the book. In the story, the unicorn taps her hoof against a wall in a castle, and a secret passage opens up. As you read this, the little ghost girl smiles and says, "There is a secret passage in this castle as well. It is a foul place, a place where people are taken never to return." "Where is this secret passage you speak of?" you ask. "In my father's library. There is a statue. Push the arm of the statue down," she explains. You are intrigued by this and wish to ask for more, to ask her more, but she points at the book impatiently, and so you get back to it. Upon finishing the story, the girl demands you read her another. You wonder how long she might keep this up. Time means nothing to her after all. You would like to get back to Reginald. And what about Kaiba's father? Rescuing a merchant might mean a fine reward, and there's Kaiba herself, of course. What would no. You would like to find her before something else does. Keep the girl happy. You do as the ghost says, and read another story. You do not pay attention to the fairy tale, as you are increasingly distracted by the chill just over your shoulder. When you finish, the ghost demands yet another story be read. Am I so craven that I'll continue to read to this dead girl while the living need me? I will read no more unicorn stories tonight, you decide. Attempt to excuse yourself. Beautiful and gracious Duchess, might I ask your full name? You ask. Gabriella. Duchess Gabriella of Inverness. She answers. My lady. You bow. I beg your pardon, but there is a young woman in the castle below who requires my assistance. There are evil men, I suspect. They threaten her life. A maiden in distress. Why do you dally here then? Begone! You need no further encouragement. You step lightly toward the door. Wait! Her voice chills you, but you unwillingly turn back. Take this, she says, and the gold-trimmed mirror floats off of the table over to you. I cannot see myself in it anymore, she says softly. Generously befitting a duchess. I thank you most humbly. You bow low and then leave. You find Reginald around the corner of the stairs, his sword at the ready. He begins asking you questions, but you put up your hand another time, you say.
Think you should check it out. I think you dig Provo. I think you could do very well there.
Okay.
Welcome to Las Vegas. Everybody eating?
Later.
Everybody sober? Close enough.
Okay, guys, we reached the first checkpoint. Sorry that there was a period of time in this video where there was nothing going on. I had to do something for my grandma, which was simpler than what we were making it out to be. But hey, there will be more of this. I don't think this will be done for 3 Shots Sunday, simply because I need a game that'll allow multiple takes. And while there is multiple stories in this D&D, as stated at the beginning, well, I'm thoroughly enjoying this. So, I hope you all enjoyed. If you want to be a member of this little community, can't talk today. If you want to be a member of this little community, please hit the S down below. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Then go ahead and ring that bell and make sure you hit all for every time I upload a video. If you don't want to be a member of this community, it's okay. I still respect you.
There is no pecan chicken salad sandwich quite like this one. Nope. This Arby's made to order masterpiece.
At the end of the day, I'm just glad that you chose to spend a little bit of your time. A little bit of your time here. I'm Hardcore Christopher. Keep it hardcore, everyone.